Art from Coldfire Role Playing Games here, and today we're going to discuss our favorite topic, Star Wars and breaking... Just kidding. Welcome back to the world of Ter'Ra'Mentia. Today we're continuing our series where we take a look at the key features and what makes each class unique. This is part 3 of the series. If you missed the other 2, check out the playlist labeled Key Class Features. Today's features in our new role-playing game, Ter'Ra'Mentia, is going to be the Solar Witch, the Astral Priest with all of its shenanigans, the Arctic Druid, and the Druid of the Wilds. We're almost done with this series. I think we'll have one more, maybe 2 videos left, and then we'll be getting back to our level 6 builds, which there's only 2 up right now in that playlist. But if you're interested in some more mechanics about the game and how we build characters, please check out our level 6 build guide. So let's get started with one of our staple classes in Ter'Ra'Mentia, a class that is iconic to our brand and to our game, the Solar Witch. Solar Witches get access to all 4 levels of the unique feature Free Flowing. So right at level 1, they can have Free Flowing 1. If you're wearing robes or a cloak or a cape and no armor, add +1 to your defense. So you immediately have a choice at level 1 as to whether or not you want to be armored or unarmored, and can benefit either way. Solar Witches really enjoy being just slightly off of the front line, supporting their allies, especially Solar Guardians. Level 2 brings them a large support ability. It's called Bask in the Glow, and at its first rank, this feature grants you once per day while not in combat. You can cast the Bask in the Glow spell to re-energize your allies, using energy and warmth of the sun that you've stored within you. All allies within 30 feet can gain 2 spirit or mana, and an amount of d6 equal to your fortitude and health. This can make the Solar Witch extremely valuable to your party as you journey throughout the day and are spending resources. The Solar Witch can be an amazing damage dealer and an amazing support, and also does the hybrid build very, very well. At level 4, you get another support ability baked into your class. This feature is called Solar Shield 1. There are further ranks of it, but once per day you can reduce damage done to yourself or an ally by 1d12 plus your spirit power. So this protection ability doesn't cost you any spirit or mana. You don't have to spend any resources to use it. At level 5, your free flowing grows to rank 2, granting you a +2 to your defense instead of 1. At max rank of 4, when you finally get that far in your build, it'll grant a +6. But here you also have a choice of features that you can pick up, as you'll not get both of them. The choice here is called Battle Mage, and you get to choose one of the following. You can gain +1 to either Spirit Power or Willpower. Spirit Power is going to lean into some of your support abilities, and Willpower is going to lean into your damage. As you level up, you're going to gain access to things like Guiding Light, Photosynthesis, but I want to draw attention to Speed of Light 1, where once per day at the start of combat, you may spend 1 spirit to imbue yourself or a willing target within 30 feet to add +6 to their speed. It is very useful to go first in combat, and this can absolutely help, or help a teammate. There are classes that can make very good use of going first, such as the Planeswalker. For more on Solar Witch spells, I would check out our video on that. I'll list a couple of here just to give you some of the flavor, where they have things like Battery to help regain spirit and mana in the middle of combat, Spirit and Mana Surge to help give that to their allies, and they can also fire things like Sunwave, Sunbolts, Blinding Auras, Eclipse, Solar Flares, Particle Blast, Purge, Cleansing Light, Expose, and Event Horizon, topping it all off with a Supernova or a Healing Beacon. This should give you an idea of some of the flavor of the Solar Witch. Whether you're a blaster or a main party support, either way you're going to have a really good time with this class, as it really has a lot of choices that it can make and a lot of paths it can go down, and a lot of flavor as well. Now let's dive into the Astral Priest. As a Priest of the Watch, your temples are spread throughout Ter'Ra'Mentia. This coalition of priests has many abilities at their disposal, and one key feature to call out right away is this is the only class in the game that can choose their spells each day. Just like the Solar Witch, this class can be a blaster or support or a hybrid of both. This class cannot choose an armor specialization at level 1, but they do get this option at level 5. So if you want to be a heavily armored astral priest, that is something you can do. They're also granted right away at level 1 the first aid specialization. This one is free for you to get, and it doesn't count against your 5 that you get to pick at character creation. The other unique thing at level 1 here is that your class attribute is sanity. And typically that is in the mental, the mind side of our character sheet and applies to willpower. But here you can use sanity to calculate your spirit power and your willpower. This really gives you the versatility of switching back day to day as to whether or not you're a blaster, a party support, or something in between. You also start with Sanctuary, and you gain 1 additional die to healing spells and reduce their spirit cost to 0 when inside a Temple of the Watch. And then lastly, at level 1, you have the Temple Training level 1, or rank 1, which is, again, as I mentioned, you have access to all spells available at your current level, but you may only prepare 5 per day. At level 2, you gain Astral Guidance 1. Out of combat once per day, you may meditate with the sun or stars in the sky. Roll a d12 and gain 1 effect for 24 hours. You can gain the following effects: a +3 to attack rolls, a +3 to damage roll. You can raise your maximum mana by 1, raise your maximum spirit by 1, raise your willpower by 3, or raise your spirit power by 3. These are all extremely useful, especially the +1 to spirit or mana, because anytime you have more resources to use your abilities and cast spells, that's beneficial. But this is also extremely fun flavor as you kind of read the threads of the fate and scribe the astral. Level 3 offers Temple Training 2, where you can now prepare 7 spells per day. And then level 4 has Arcane Well 1, or you can choose Light Well 1. Let's start with the Arcane Well. For 2 action points, you can gain 3 mana. This ability can only be used once per day. And then the other choice is Light Well 1. For 2 action points, you can gain 3 spirit, and this ability can only be used once per day. This is a permanent choice. It's not retrainable like a lot of your spells are at levels 5, 10, and 15. So it's important to make the choice that fits your character best. Level 5 offers you more choices. As we mentioned earlier, you can pick 1 weapon or armor specialization if you want to be heavily armored at this time, or you can pick 1 non-armor weapon specialization. Then you also gain Arcane Focus 1, where you may spend 1 mana to add 1d6 arcane damage to a single target spell attack. Healing Focus 1, where you can spend 1 spirit to add 1d6 to a single target heal. And you get Temple Training 3, where you can now prepare 8 spells per day. As you level up, you can become a more skilled healer. You can prepare more spells per day. You can gain Astral Guidance, which will double the value of your Astral Guidance effect. Shepherd of Light, to help you remove sanity counters from yourself or an ally. Star Charts, to help you navigate. And Astral Bond, when you heal an ally, gain health equal to half of the amount healed. Astral Priest spells are also quite unique, just like all of our classes. They can have the ability to help stabilize allies and remove wound counters from them. They have the ability to balance themselves, transferring spirit and mana back and forth between their resource pools. They have something called Shared Fate, if you choose it, where when an ally's health will be reduced to 0, you may suffer the damage instead. They can use Arcane Diffusion to dismiss spells being cast by enemies. They have Repelling Aura, to use the gravity of the universe to push people away from them. Arcane Starlight Rays, Fate, Destiny, Summon a Sun Hammer, Give Inspiration, create an Arcane Portal, Purge, Cleansing Light, Astral Projection, and then one that I find the most fun if you choose to take it is Time Well. For the heavy cost of 2 action points and 3 mana, you can immediately reset the speed rotation. The entire combat encounter must reroll their speed and use the new result. It's only usable once per day, but in a tight moment where you're not happy with the speed rotation, you can now, as the only class in the game, entirely throw that mechanic up in the air and redo it. Now let's take a look at the 2 druids and what makes them unique. They're very different from each other. The Druid of the Wilds is more focused on shape-shifting and using poison and healing abilities, where the Arctic Druid, who does also have support and healing abilities, can conjure elements of cold and lightning in the weather to aid them in battle. Let's start with the Druid of the Wilds. As mentioned, they have access to animal forms. Animal forms are something they can choose as abilities to shapeshift into as they level up. They also have the opportunity for more advanced players to work directly with their game master on possibly learning other ones that we have not listed here, so you can be creative and have even more control over what your character is like. When the Druid of the Wilds is using an animal form, they keep all of their basic stats, and most attacks and damage are based off of their spirit power. Just like the Solar Witch, they also have access to Free Flowing 1, going all the way up to Free Flowing rank 4, which maxes out at giving you a +6 to your defense. At level 2, they gain 1 with Nature rank 1. This feature grants them once per day that they can rest for 10 minutes to revitalize and regain 1 spirit or mana, and an amount of d6 equal to their fortitude and health. This is for themselves only and not quite as potent as the Solar Witch, as this kind of thing is more closely tied to the Solar Witch's identity and the particular roles that they can play in a party. At level 4, Druid of the Wilds are used to navigating this shifting wilds forest, where the landscape is constantly changing or being magically altered, so it is natural that they gain Pure Freedom 1, where difficult terrain does not slow you down when using an animal form. They also at level 4 gain Wild Fury rank 1, and for 1 spirit you can add an additional 1d6 damage to an attack while using an animal form. This level also offers Communicate with Animals rank 1, and for 1 action point and 1 spirit, you can speak with 1 animal for 1 round. This spell can be channeled for 1 action point up to 6 rounds. Level 5 is where we see Free Flowing rank 2, as mentioned before, and also as mentioned before, this is where we see the Mini Forms feature that allows you to start working with your game master to learn other animal forms not listed in our abilities and spells here. You also have Natural Defenses, where you can gain +1 to your defense when using an animal form. Level 6 is going to offer you Animal Form Savage Attacks. This is very similar to two-handed weapons training. When you use an animal form ability that deals damage for 2 action points, you can spend 1 additional action point to make an additional attack or to actually do the same attack again. It specifically has to be the same attack again here in this situation. You also do get two-handed weapons training, where when making an attack with a weapon that has the cost of 2 action points and you're specialized with it, you may spend 1 additional action point to make another attack with that same weapon. Level 8 will offer you Druidic Sanctuary 1, where when you're outdoors, you can shape the land around you in a 20-foot area, filling it with fog, foliage, trees, whatever's around, and inside of this, you're completely concealed. Anything trying to locate you must make an awareness check at -6 versus your spirit power. This can help create a safe place for your party to rest for the night, or during the day, or whatever creative use you think you can come up with for it. Your Communicate with Animals, Wild Fury, and other abilities like Free Flowing continue to grow over time, so let's just call out another couple key features here that really makes the Druid of the Wilds even cooler. Like Animal Friends at level 16, where for the high cost of 3 action points and 3 spirit, you can transform up to 3 willing creatures into animal forms that you know for the duration of up to 1 hour. This could be completely fun for your party. And you also gain Archdruid forms, where when shifting from 1 animal form directly into another, you reduce the cost of that by 1 spirit. So you can now shift freely back and forth between forms, and it may not cost you anything, or it will at least be reduced by 1. Some of the flavorful spells and abilities to mention here would be things like Venom Bolt, Poison Blades, Living Vines, Wolf Forms, Puma Forms, Healing, Regeneration, Venom Blast, Acid Storm, Living Lands, Cleansing Breeze, and Thorn Armor. Now let's talk about the Arctic Druid. The Arctic Druid, just like the other classes mentioned today, other than the Astral Priest, have Free Flowing 1. They also can grow this to rank 4, just like the previous classes mentioned, adding a +6 to their defense when not wearing armor. The class attribute here for the Arctic Druid is Vitality, and this is going to be used to calculate their spirit power. Of course, leaving the default Intelligence to calculate their willpower. Just like their Druid of the Wild's brethren, they do have 1 with Nature, where once per day they can rest to revitalize and regain some spirit or mana, and an amount of d6 of health equal to their fortitude. At level 3, they do have a choice between picking 2 additional spells or gaining an additional weapon or armor specialization. This is going to really greatly depend on how you view your character and how you want to build them. If you're going more martial, then yeah, absolutely take the extra weapon. I personally prefer to take more spells, but the options are there. Level 4 gives you your first real big key features. Nature's Fury 1. Each time you cast a spell, gain 1 charge. After gaining 3 charges, your next spell cast is reduced by 1 mana or 1 spirit. You also have Winter Acclamation, where cold damage you suffer is reduced by your fortitude plus 3. They also can gain Communicate with Animals, and their Nature's Fury, Cold Mastery, Druidic Sanctuary, and One with Nature all grow over time. Now true, you don't see as many key baked-in features to the Arctic Druid as you do some other classes, but that's because they have amazing diversity in what they can do with their spell and ability list. There's a lot of choices here. Things like Communing with Nature, casting Ice Rays, Lightning Bolts, Crackle, Freezing Strike, Create Ice, Heal, Animalkin, and Fog Cloud, and that's just level 1 choices for starters. They can summon a spirit animal to aid them. They have Ice Shields, Control Wind, Control Water, Chain Lightning, Charged Lightning, Soothing Winds, Winter Blast, Wind Gust, Regeneration, Ice Diffusion, where they can stop enemies from casting spells. They can create a Blizzard, Cleansing Breeze, use Ice Armor. They have Arctic Awareness, Control Weather, Lightning Strike, Frozen Lightning Storm, or Mass Heal. Mass Heal is one of the most powerful healing spells in the game if you are a level 17 support Arctic Druid. There are not many other healing spells in the game that can compare. Again, as usual, this is another class that loves being support, loves being a damage dealer, or can love being both. It is a common theme in our game where we really love hybrid classes and we like people to have options to have fun. So thanks for taking another look at our class key features. Be on the lookout for more news regarding our publication in January. We believe we are still on track for that. We'll let you know exactly when and where our game will be available, digitally and hardcover. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time in the world of Ter'Ra'Mentia.